east of Claremore. So very concerned with this storm. Has a history of producing a tornado. We've seen consistent rotation now for over an hour with this storm alone, and we've been tracking several different tornado warnings throughout the night. Tornado warning in effect still for Rogers and Mayes County. That is in effect as we're heading into Sunday morning. That's in effect until 12:15. So another 15 minutes from now, this storm track again. 12:12 for Adair, 12:15 for Patton. And we've seen this storm with a history of producing a tornado. So very concerned with this tornado threat. We've got crews out in the field at reported damage across the Tulsa Metro and all across Green Country as these storms rolled through. We'll get you damage reports as soon as we have time, but we're going to stay on the air all weather all the time as we have this tornado warning in effect. So Chief Meteorologist James Adelaw joins us now. And James, we've been tracking this storm threat as we've tracked through the last few days. We knew this would be a big night, and we've been tracking this storm threat here on air continuous here for the last 3 hours.
Well, take a look. We're looking right now at velocities on a high-resolution radar. The circulation may be just a little bit weaker. We're looking at the reds here, a little bit brighter, and the greens. This is just along or barely east of the Will Rogers Turnpike. This is the Highway 28 exit. Milepost 269 right here, and what we're looking at is that circulation moving to the northeast. It's had a pretty steady motion, maybe just a little bit north of straight northeast. So from Adair up to Big Cabin, we need to watch this very closely. Adair officially is in the tornado warning. This has had a history of producing some damage in the last hour as it moved up over the far eastern side of Broken Arrow, and looks like, again, we're taking a look at some of these high-resolution radar data where this thing is passing just to the northwest of the city of Pryor. I'm going to expand the view just a little bit. Again, what we're looking at here are Doppler velocities. Pryor, you are in the clear, officially in the tornado warning, but you're in the clear. You don't need to be in your safe room any longer in Pryor. Could see some strong winds blow through, but the tornadic circulation, the potential tornado is about 2 miles to the southeast of the Will Rogers Turnpike and about 5 miles south of mile marker 269. That's State Highway 28, the exit over toward the Adair community. And what we're looking at is a weaker velocity signature and a broader velocity signature, so this thing may be slowly weakening. I want to do a track on the storm, and well, as best we can here, we'll track this northwest of Pryor, and again, just a little bit more to the north of due northeast. So at 12:14, this is going to be near the Patton community, Big Cabin by 12:19 if it holds together. And notice how close this is to the community of Adair. In Adair, you still need to be in your safe place in northern Mayes County here from Highway 69 west all the way over to the Rogers County line. But it looks like that circulation now has cleared east of the Rogers County line right now. So as we look, here's Sequoia High School, Foyle, Bushy Head, up Old Highway 66. Here's the Adair community. This is Pryor. The circulation is much weaker right now, but it's something that we're going to continue to watch. It's now about 5 miles east of the county line between Rogers County and Mayes County. So this is the circulation right here. It's a little bit weaker, but I think we can clear Rogers County from the warning. Now, a lot of damage reports coming in from emergency managers north of Inola in Rogers County right now and north of 412. So let's check in. Meteorologist Ben Walnick also tracking these storms. And Ben, what do you have to add?
And we continue to track this storm threat. I'm loading up my radar right now, tracking this storm that's moving just east of the Tulsa Metro. Let's switch over to Weather 3, and I can show those storm reports if you want to put that behind me. And we are seeing those storm reports. All the blue dots you're seeing, that's wind damage reports. The one red dot that you're seeing, the little wedge there, that is the tornado report that we saw in southeastern parts of Broken Arrow. But lots of wind damage reports. We're sending crews out now that it's safe and the line of storms is past the Tulsa Metro, and we'll get you that information as soon as we can. And I am tracking things over. Let's see, as I'm trying to pull up my radar over here. Let's keep things on Weather 3 as we're seeing the storm reports across the area. And that's where, as I zoom things out all the way, you're seeing plenty of those reports, but still very concerned about this tornado warning that is tracking now just northwest of Pryor. Adair, you are in this tornado warning. It's tracking, unfortunately, very close to the Will Rogers Turnpike. Let me switch one of our radars over and get some better data here and turn off lightning. And we can switch back to Weather 4 if you can in the director booth, and where we're seeing this storm, the area of rotation just northwest of Pryor. So let's switch over to Weather 4. There we go. just northwest of Pryor. The area of rotation would be just here. I'll go ahead and put it on the map. This is the area of concern. Just to the south. In fact, let's move this down just a bit. It's a little bit further and a little bit rain wrapped, so that would be a little bit of a concern as well. I'll pan the camera down a little bit so you can see a little bit better. The area of rotation that we'd be tracking would be just a few miles northwest of Pryor, right along the turnpike. So this is actually our area of rotation right in this region. So looks like could pass just north and west of Adair, but right along the turnpike. And this is between Claremore and Veneta in far northwestern parts of Mayes County. This will be crossing over Oklahoma 28, the intersection of Oklahoma 28. So the exit for Adair off the turnpike. That's happening here in the next few minutes as this tracks to the northeast. And we're still seeing some very significant rotation on Fox 23 Doppler radar at this time. Let me check in with the National Weather Service, the latest that we're getting from them. The circulation as of 2 minutes ago, southwest of Adair, looking a little bit weaker, still able to produce a tornado at this time, though. Let's check in with certified meteorologist John Boyer as we continue with our Fox 23 severe weather team coverage.
Yeah, what I want to do for us is set the scene and look through all the warnings that we have right now, because again, we cover almost all of eastern Oklahoma, and we want to start from south to north in logical order and just go through the list of what we have right now. Starting, and I took the radar layer off so we can just kind of simplify and see these town names really nice and easy. Hughes County and Pittsburgh County, we're talking about Holdenville and McAllister. We've got a heavy storm rolling in, not meeting severe limits right now, but it could at some time in the future. Let's move things up to the north. Next severe thunderstorm warning we're going to talk about. This one goes until 12:30, until the bottom of the hour for all of McIntosh County, Eufaula, Shakota, all the way up Highway 69 into Muskogee and Fort Gibson, back into eastern reaches of Okmulgee County, although Okmulgee and Henrietta proper, you are now in this severe clear. Most of Wagner County in on this as well. Threats with this would be wind gusts that can create damage. Very frequent lightning, although it isn't lightning that makes a storm severe. In fact, let me take a closer look. In fact, this part of the line could have gusts to 70 miles an hour, and that is 76,000 people within that individual severe thunderstorm warning. Moving next to the north. One severe thunderstorm warning in the eastern part of the Tulsa Metro that also goes into the bottom of the hour. This is the one that affects Claremore and Inola over towards Pryor. We've got, of course, that tornado warning that we're concerned about now northeast of Claremore Airport, northwest of Pryor, and also severe thunderstorm warnings in far northeastern Oklahoma. I know there are a lot of lines and boxes here, but we're going to sort this out for you. These ones go until 1 in the morning here for the far northeastern corner of the state. I mentioned Grove, Miami, Grand Lake J. Pay attention, this is coming your way. Now here it is, you've got your warning now. This is 1 a.m. that this is going to, and this affects, as you can see, all of Nowata County, all of Mayes County, Ottawa County, and down to Delaware County. And also want to take a quick look at the hazards associated with this in terms of any hail. It's been a while since we've seen any large hail reports, but with storms strong enough to create rotating updrafts and strong enough to create those damaging wind gusts, also can create some hail. And the threat associated with this part of the line of storms, a wind gust to 70 miles an hour. So again, that can create straight line wind damage that has been the culprit for knocking out some power across Osage and Tulsa and Wagner counties. In fact, what I can do right now is send things back over to certified meteorologist Ben Walnick for what he's learned.
And our newsroom is very active right now. We've got a lot of crews heading out into the field, checking on damage. We just got some numbers reported on the outages. John was just talking about the power outages that we're seeing across Green Country. The latest update from PSO, Osage County, 498 customers without power. It's Tulsa County. Check out this number, 14,200 customers without power. Rogers County now up over 1,000. Wagner over 3,500, and Okmulgee County over 1,400 as well. So a lot of power outages. This is a good time to remind you, if you have lost power or you know family members that perhaps are still in the path of these storms that have lost power, we are streaming our coverage right now. I've got my stream up here just to make sure that we are streaming through the Fox 23 weather app. You don't need Wi-Fi. You can do it. I'm doing it straight through my cell phone signal, and we'll be streaming any coverage we have. We stream all of our newscasts and, of course, our streaming severe weather coverage. The tornado warning now has expired for Rogers County, so we can knock that down off of our bottom screen here. Rogers County now out of that tornado warning, now all in Mayes County. And the area that we're still concerned with this storm would be northwest of Pryor, very close to Adair. The latest information we're getting from the National Weather Service is we're going to continue to see the potential for spin-ups with this line of storms as it tracks to the east. The plan is to allow this warning to expire at 12:15. So at least 5 more minutes tracking this tornado warning, but we're not done with that tornado potential, and we're certainly not done with the wind damage and flooding potential. That's going to be with us for most of the night as we continue to track these severe storms, and we continue our Fox 23 severe weather team coverage. Let's check in with Chief Meteorologist James Ayla.
Okay, again, we're zoomed into Mays County right now. The tornado warning set to expire in about 5 minutes at 12:15, and the word in from the National Weather Service is that they will allow that to expire. What I am watching closely here just to the west of Adair, we still have a pretty strong circulation right now. I'm going to jump over to the high-res radar picture, and right along Highway 28, this is mile marker 269, Will Rogers Turnpike here, and Highway 28 that scoots across from the Will Rogers Turnpike over into the Adair community. So we still have a little bit of a weak circulation here. Right now, the way it appears that we'll be slowly shifting from a significant tornado threat into more of a spin-up tornado threat as these thunderstorms sort of line up into a big thunderstorm complex. Now, I want to expand the view just a bit and show you all the other warnings that are in effect across eastern Oklahoma, and we'll take these from top to bottom. So we have severe thunderstorm warnings in effect right now for the northeast corner of Oklahoma, Craig, Delaware, Nowata, even parts of Rogers County. This is a severe thunderstorm warning until 11 o'clock. Our tornado warning is a small one, and it is set to expire here in just a few minutes. The next severe thunderstorm warning from Grand Lake, Pensacola Dam, Lake Spavinaw, over Pryor, all the way back officially into the east side of Broken Arrow, but that's going to be canceled too. That severe thunderstorm warning is in effect right now until 12:30. And as we go further south, we have a new severe thunderstorm warning. This one along Highway 69 from Wagoner all the way past Interstate 40. This severe thunderstorm warning mainly for wind. Could see a little bit of hail fall out of this from time to time too, and a new severe thunderstorm warning in Pittsburg County right now. And there's that severe thunderstorm warning. So from Crowder all the way across McAllister into Kiowa. I'm going to kick the radar data back on, and you can see this line of thunderstorms is still west of McAllister, just now starting to move toward the Indian Nation Turnpike and the service plaza there, just very close to Highway 9, and curving all the way back into parts of southern Hughes County. Wind will be the main threat here. Now, the way the atmospheric dynamics are set up, if we get any kind of bow with this and any kind of a northwest to southeast orientation along the leading edge, that would be a most likely zone where we could see one of these brief spin-up tornadoes. So the tornado warning for Mays County expiring in 2 minutes and 20 seconds. That latest word from the National Weather Service is they do not plan to reissue that tornado warning. They expect to let that expire. Meteorologist John Boyer is standing by. Our severe weather team coverage continues. And John, I see you're looking at power outage information right now too.
Those outage numbers increasing via PSO. Rogers County now 1,000 customers without power. Okmulgee County 1,500 without power. McIntosh County now starting to see those outages as well. I want to look at the strongest wind gusts we've been seeing over the past hour, and this obviously doesn't. There's a lot of territory between the anemometers, but I have seen some 49-mile-an-hour gusts in Porter and Haskell, 47 miles an hour in Talala. Expect to see, at least within some of these leading edge of this storm, 70 to 75 mile-an-hour wind gusts. It has a history of that. It has a possibility of creating that. And what you see behind me is where I'm looking at the wind field in these storms in Pittsburg County. The National Weather Service, not a tornado warning for Pittsburg County, but they have mentioned that this is the kind of severe thunderstorm where a tornado is possible. So we're going to watch out and see if any of the rotation signatures in Pittsburg County look more menacing. Also want to point out the flash flooding or street flooding threat. A lot of reports of that in Metro Tulsa. High water on some roadways. Looking into that through our newsroom. We're getting many of your reports and pictures on our Fox 23 News Facebook page. And another thing I can look at is the lightning situation. That's actually getting better here in Metro Tulsa. If you've been with us for a while, you would have seen maybe 45 minutes ago where we had a rate of 2,000 to 3,000 lightning strikes within a 30-minute period in the metro area. Now, we're still getting thunder, and we still probably will for the next 30 minutes to an hour, but the most intense part of that has shifted out to the east. In that box that I drew, mainly around Wagner and Rogers County, that's 1,800 lightning strikes in the past 30 minutes. And new information from Ben Walnick.
And we continue to track the potential for any spin-ups along this line of storms. We've been tracking this. We've had a tornado warning in effect across parts of Green Country here consistently for the last 90 minutes or so, tracking that storm just east of Bixby. And this is the same storm now that is just north of Pryor, but just popping off of the screen. If we take my weather graphics full, weather 4 right here, the tornado warning has been allowed to expire at 12:15. We are now all in the clear for tornado warnings at this time. Now, that does not mean that our threat for tornadoes is done just yet. In fact, a lot of the severe thunderstorm warnings that you're seeing, still the potential to see tornadoes spin up from there. The potential for tornadoes is decreasing just a bit as we head into the overnight hours, but still exists as we track this, tracking east of Highway 75, right up and down Highway 69 at this time. So areas that really haven't seen any rain just yet with this event: Grand Lake, Grove, Little Kansas towards Tahlequah. Now seeing the heavy rain in Muskogee. It looks like potentially we could be seeing that rotation picking up in one area of this line. Let me zoom things in. This just in from the National Weather Service. We potentially could be seeing some rotation very close to the Big Cabin area. So spinning back up in that same area. And we're seeing that here on the line of storms as I turn the warnings off. Very close to Big Cabin. That is in far southern parts of Craig County, and as that moves right along the turnpike, that could be affecting areas like Veneta. So we're going to keep our storm track at 40 to 45 miles per hour. Tracking this to the east-northeast will include Veneta in that warning right along the Will Rogers Turnpike. So Big Cabin here, need to be taking your tornado precautions just in case. No tornado warning at this time, but signs on radar of possible rotation. Veneta at 12:26 and Kelso at 12:31. Again, no tornado warning at this time, but seeing signs on radar, and there's our new tornado warning just now. Craig County, Delaware County, Mays County, and Ottawa County. That's the area of rotation that I have for you. Let's take that full weather for right now. The tornado track that we're seeing. Big Cabin here in the next minute or two. Veneta at 12:26. This tracking to the northeast again at 45 miles per hour. These storms have been very consistent, moving at the same speed and the same direction. And as I take our storm track off briefly, I want to label where this area of rotation would be. Very close to Big Cabin, right over that area, right along I-44, and tracking to the northeast. Again, going to be hugging the interstate and the turnpike as this tracks to the northeast. So areas like Veneta, you need to be taking your tornado precautions at this time. Center part of your home, you still have 5 to 10 minutes. If you live in a mobile home and you have a closer shelter very close by, take shelter now as this tracks to the northeast. Veneta here right around 12:25. That's about 8 minutes from now. And as this continues, mainly the warning was issued for Mays County, but the area of rotation now into Craig County as this tracks to the northeast at 45 miles per hour. So even though you're barely in the warning, parts of Mays County, mainly now for Craig County, and this could track into far northwestern Delaware and Ottawa counties as well. As I pop up the warning really quick before I toss things over to Chief Meteorologist James Adelot, there is our tornado warning. So far northern parts of Mays County, I'm going to go ahead and clear you from the threat with this, as this is now into southern parts of Craig County, tracking along the interstate. Veneta in the path, down the line, areas we've talked about this season already: Afton, Bernice. This will be tracking into parts of Ottawa and Delaware counties as well. We continue our Fox 23 severe weather team coverage as we have our new tornado warning in effect, and that warning is in effect as we head through the next several minutes. For 30 minutes, 12:45, Chief Meteorologist James Adelot joins us with more.
Well, again, we're looking at that circulation very close to Big Cabin. Here's the track. So we go from Big Cabin northeast at about 45 miles per hour on this storm, and as it moves to the northeast, we will continue to see at least some strong indications that we could produce another tornado. So Big Cabin area right now, moving up toward Veneta. Again, I'll put that circulation right on Big Cabin. If you're on the Will Rogers Turnpike, anywhere from Big Cabin up toward Veneta, of course, that includes the McDonald's, the Veneta Airport, back over toward the toll plaza too. And over the next 25 minutes, if this holds together, Veneta, Cornet Czar, Kelso, if it holds together up into the Grand Lake area too, close to Afton at 12:41. Also, we're throw in the Ketchum area and maybe just to the north of Ketchum and very close to Pensacola Dam too. So that's what we're looking at right now. The strongest circulation is out of extreme northern Mays County and extreme southern Craig County as that moves to the northeast. Here's Big Cabin. This is the Highway 69 exit. So once you stay on the Will Rogers Turnpike further to the north, of course, you run into the Service Plaza, the toll booth, and on up toward the Veneta Veneta exit 2. So we're looking at East 330 Road out of Big Cabin, curving back down toward Ocoee, and this is the area that we're watching very closely. Could produce another tornado at any time. Again, as we look at reflectivity right now on Fox 23 Doppler radar, here's Big Cabin. And that exit is mile marker 283. If you know anybody on the Will Rogers Turnpike, they probably need to be stopping at Big Cabin, coming back to the end of this from the northeast. If they're westbound on the Will Rogers Turnpike, need to stop at the Miami exit and just wait this thing out right there. As we look at velocities, I'm looking at, looks like just south of Big Cabin may be the strongest indication of a circulation, just right along the Mays and Craig County line south of Big Cabin. So this may actually be embedded in rain, which would give you little to no visual indication that we have a tornado approaching. So rotation parameter here south of Big Cabin, 1, 2, 3 miles. So 3 miles south, that puts it 1 mile south of the county line, continuing to move to the northeast. This is going to be moving in the general direction of Ketchum, Cleora, Bernice, staying just now we'll say the northern edge of this warning along the Will Rogers Turnpike. There's the Veneta Toll Plaza, and then of course the McDonald's over the Toll Plaza and the Veneta Airport just south of that, and then exit 289, which leads you into Veneta on US Highway 60. So the potential circulation is just to the south of Big Cabin right now, and as that continues to move to the northeast, that will be moving on into Craig County and out of Mays County within the next well, really within the next couple of minutes. So you need to be in a tornado safe place in Big Cabin and in Veneta. So we'll put that track right on the county line. Move this to the northeast at about 25 minutes or so toward Big Cabin at 12:23, Veneta 12:33, Kelso siding at 12:39. So this is the path. It looks like Ketchum may be right on the east edge of this potential tornado. That also puts most of Grand Lake on the east side of this potential tornado too. So maybe Afton on the far east edge of the tornado warning area, all the way over to the Will Rogers Turnpike. Now remember, just to the north of the Veneta exit, the Will Rogers Turnpike angles back a little bit more toward the east as it moves into Ottawa County. So it's this area along the Will Rogers Turnpike. If you know somebody that's making that drive right now, call them. If they're westbound, they need to exit at Miami and wait this storm out. If they're moving back to the eastbound, they need to wait this storm out at the Adair exit. That's State Highway 28. Meteorologist John Boyer watching several other severe thunderstorms up and down this line. So far, this is our only tornado warning, but we've got other strong thunderstorms, and we still have dynamics that could lead us to another spin-up tornado. So we're watching closely all up and down this line, John.
Indeed, this whole line, basically from north to south through the Sooner State, has been at severe levels. And now what I've done, I've taken the warnings off, simplified this just a little bit, and put out a track on the leading edge of this line. Moving northeast 40 to 45 miles an hour. That takes us to the Ketchum area around 12:30. 10 minutes to Tahlequah, 12:33. McAllister, 12:38. Maybe a little bit later than that. Porham, 12:46. Grove, Grand Lake, 12:50, or slightly earlier if that part that's coming at you, it's bowing out a little bit, and sometimes that means it can accelerate. So that part of the storm may be moving a little faster than 45 miles an hour. But generally speaking, the threat with this line of severe storms rolling through, damaging straight line wind gusts to 60, 70 miles an hour, perhaps a brief spin-up tornado. I've been scouring the radar in the southern half of this line to see if there are any threatening signatures like what we have with that tornado warned storm. I'll put it back on here because I don't want to get away from it for too long. But that's up around Veneta, west of Grove. That's the only tornado warning we have right now. We have our first flash flood warning of the evening too. That is for Hughes County, specifically Calvin and Stewart. That flash flood warning for parts of Hughes County goes until 3:15. And also continuing to look at the situation with power outages, with water on the roadways, and of course some of the reports, because it's a night with driving rain, can really be delayed. So we're still looking out for damage reports from where the storm and the early tornado warnings were in eastern Tulsa County, western Wagner County, and we send it back over to certified meteorologist Ben Walnick to see what you've learned.
Yeah, and just what you were talking about with some of these power outages that we're seeing. Over 13,700 customers without power in the Tulsa Metro, and Wagner County, more than 15% of the area. That's 3,500 customers without power there. Okmulgee at 1,500 customers. Again, we still have a tornado warning in effect at this time for southeastern parts of Craig County. This is southeast of Veneta. This The circulation looks like it perhaps could have weakened just a bit in the last few scans, but it looks like potentially we're seeing some wind damage along the leading edge of this storm. A little bit further to the southeast, just outside of that warning, reports of power flashes around Ketchum. That is right at the bow. As I zoom things out just a bit for you, the bowing in this storm, as I'll turn off the warnings really quick. So typically when you see a bowing like this, where you see the bowing in the storm like this, that would be the potential of some very strong winds. So power flashes in and around Ketchum, likely seeing some winds around 70 miles per hour moving into Grand Lake. Hopefully no one out on the boats, Grand Lake at 12:30 at night, but very strong winds moving into that area. Still have our tornado warning just to the north of there. Also now getting reports of power outages in Muskogee with power lines down on the west side of town. So this is a widespread wind damage event that we're seeing. Lots of damage reports of a wind across the area, and we still have our tornado warning that we are tracking very closely. This is just northwest of Ketchum. This is southeast of Veneta. And the good news is it looks like perhaps this area of rotation a little bit further to the south away from the turnpike, but crossing over Oklahoma 82 here within the next 5 to 10 minutes. And widespread wind damage and the isolated potential for spin-up tornadoes, which is why we've seen these tornado warnings. Only one confirmed report of a tornado so far tonight. That was in southeast Broken Arrow and far eastern parts of Bixby, but still our tornado warning in effect here for the next 20 minutes. This is for eastern parts of Craig County and into Ottawa and Delaware counties. We continue our severe weather team coverage. The whole team here tracking storms, a busy newsroom tracking those damage reports. Let's talk to Chief Meteorologist James Adelot tracking the potential wind damage with these storms.
Yeah, again, as you touched on that, from Ketchum all the way south along the Delaware-Mays County line, we'll do a track. Now, we talked about this about 20 minutes ago, that any northwest to southeast orientation along this line would be the favored spot for any spin-ups. That's why we have that tornado warning in effect for Veneta, the Service Plaza, Veneta Airport area, right along the Will Rogers Turnpike up toward Fairland, including Afton, too. Now, further along that line south, we have very strong wind indicated by Doppler radar, and that very strong wind is probably blowing in excess of 70, maybe even 75 miles per hour. I'm going to set this up and do a track on there. There's the tornado warning. Updated track on that indicates that potential tornado southeast of Veneta. Still need to be in your safe place in Veneta, but Kornitzar toward Afton by 12:43. There is that warned area. Now I'm going to go a little further south along that line because we're tracking some very strong wind now from Ketchum across Pensacola Dam right back up into the southeast side of Grand Lake. And this one we will do as a blue track mainly for wind. Might even get a little bit of hail along with this storm, but as it moves to the east, we'll do about a 30-minute track. That's going to run it all the way across Delaware County. Ketchum just in the next few minutes. Uchi at 12:33, Twin Oaks 12:37, Little Kansas on 412 in southern Delaware County. We're looking at 12:41. The Sycamore community at 12:45. Grove at 12:46, Southwest City right on the Missouri state line at 12:53, and on further east towards Saratoga by about 12:57. I'm going to take a step back and reset you on some of these warnings that we have in effect right now across eastern Oklahoma. We still have this tornado warning in effect until 12:45, 15 more minutes. Severe thunderstorm warnings, Craig County and Ottawa County for very strong wind. I'm going to go a little bit further south along this line into Adair County. Here's the very strongest winds pushing into Delaware County. These are going to be moving into Hulbert, Tahlequah, Peggs, toward Cookson and Lake Tenkiller.
Southwest of Leora on the rotation.
Okay, so we're really increasing the rotation. We'll check in here in just a second with that. South of Muskogee, we've had some power outages. This extends all the way back down into the McAllister area too. So severe thunderstorm warnings continue. Look at our rotation really starting to take off here west of Veneta. I'm going to take a look at this with high resolution Doppler radar data right now as we look just to the southeast of Veneta, and the very strongest circulation just southeast of the Service Plaza right now, that's just southeast of US Highway 60, is so far has stayed just south of the Will Rogers Turnpike. So here's the Will Rogers Turnpike. This is the Veneta exit, Service Plaza with McDonald's, the airport, then the toll booth. And we're looking at the circulation just southeast of Veneta and straight south of Highway 60. So this is continuing to be very strong as it continues to move to the northeast. A new circulation looks like trying to develop very close to the Ketchum and Cleora area right now. Well, velocities are certainly on the noisy side out of this, but just north of Ketchum, we've got some pretty strong indications of a very strong rotation with the storm right now. So moving from Ketchum back up toward Cleora. This is moving northeast at about 50 miles per hour. Now, if it holds together through Cleora, I'm going to bring that back on. We're talking on up from Cleora toward Bernice. Here's Bernice State Park. This is the northern shore of Grand Lake right now. South shore in pretty good shape right now, but potential tornado located southeast of Anita, moving to the northeast. Now, we've had a lot of damage from this. The Fox 23 News team has fanned out across